Hello, friends. Welcome to NCFCA Next Steps, Getting Involved in Local Clubs. Throughout tonight's presentation, feel free to click on Ask a Question at the bottom of your screen and type in any questions that you would like us to address in our live Q&A. We'll also be conducting a few polls, so feel free to answer those as well. My name is Amy Joy Tofty, and I serve as the Director of Education for the National Christian Forensics and Communications Association, otherwise known as NCFCA. My husband and I have 6 children, ranging in age from 7 to 19, all of whom have participated in NCFCA, and I am passionate about equipping students to share truth winsomely. NCFCA is a national speech and debate league for Christian students ages 12 through 19. Our mission is to promote excellence in communications through competitive opportunities where students develop the skills necessary to think critically and communicate effectively in order to address life issues from a biblical worldview in a manner that glorifies God. We are passionate about what we do, and we are so glad that you want to get involved. So nationally, NCFCA hosts nearly 50 speech and debate tournaments across the United States, providing ample opportunities for eligible affiliates to practice and hone their communication skills. With 10 speech events and 3 debate styles, there is something for everyone. Now, local families across the nation are preparing for NCFCA competition, and many have formed independent clubs in their local communities. While club membership is not required for NCFCA affiliation, local clubs certainly offer opportunities for you and your family to get involved. NCFCA loves our local clubs and our local club leaders because we understand how valuable they are in the lives of our affiliates. So why should you join a local club? The old adage says, together everyone achieves more. Andrew Carnegie said it this way: teamwork is the ability to work together toward a common vision. It is the fuel that allows common people to attain uncommon results. So what role do clubs play in the lives of our students? First, clubs encourage collaboration. Now, it's completely possible to study and prepare on your own, but it is so much more fun and productive with friends. Local clubs invite students into a collaborative learning adventure where students and parents learn and discover together. They share research and ideas and evidence, and they give each other feedback. Next, clubs encourage cultivation. Merriam-Webster's online dictionary defines cultivation as the act or art of fostering growth. Proverbs 27:17 reminds us that iron sharpens iron, and one man sharpens another. Tyndale's Life Application Study Bible comments on this verse saying, quote, mental sharpness comes from being around good people, and a meeting of minds can help people see their ideas with new clarity, to refine them and shape them into brilliant insights. This requires discussion partners who can challenge each other and stimulate thought, people who focus on the idea without involving their egos in the discussion, people who know how to attack the thought and not the thinker. 2 friends who bring their ideas together can help each other become sharper. I love the picture that study Bible gives to this verse. It's the idea that we can cultivate growth in one another by coming together and being that iron that sharpens iron. And last but not least, clubs encourage community. Students who participate in local clubs are more likely to stick with it. And the community aspect accomplishes something even more important. In his devotional, The Bread for the Journey, Henry Nouwen writes, a mosaic consists of thousands of little stones. Some are blue, some are green, some are yellow, and some are gold. When we bring our faces close to the mosaic, we can admire the beauty of each stone. But as we step back from it, we can see that all these little stones reveal to us a beautiful picture, telling a story that none of these stones can tell by itself. That is what life in community is all about. Each of us is like a little stone. but together we reveal the face of God to the world. Nobody can say, I make God visible, but others who see us together can say they make God visible. Community is where humility and glory touch. And that's what's so great about our local clubs. With collaboration, cultivation, and community, local clubs and engaged parents help our students to grow in faith, to develop skills, and to connect with others. To find an existing club near you, visit www and search Find a Club. But if there's no club near you, we want to invite you to launch a new club, and we're excited to help you in that endeavor. Now, just as a GPS aids us in getting where we're going, a great plan can help you reach your intended destination. So as you think about launching a new club, you'll want to consider logistics and leadership, policies and procedures, and training and resources. So let's start out with logistics. When you think about logistics, the first thing you'll need to decide is, where do you want to meet? Several of our clubs meet at local churches, so that's certainly an option. But if you have a small club, you could also meet in someone's home, or at a community center, or even at a school or a library. Next, you'll need to consider on what day and what time you'll meet. And to do that, you might take a poll of the interested families, because everybody and every situation is just slightly different. And so you can tailor your club to the folks that are going to be joining you. The other thing you'll need to determine is how often will you meet. Some clubs meet every week. Some clubs meet twice a month. Some clubs meet online. Some clubs meet in person. So you have lots of different options here, and we'll support you in whatever you choose to meet the needs of your families. So when you think about how often you will meet, one of the things that you want to consider is, how much are you planning to cover in a given session? So which speech and debate events will you offer? And if you're just getting started out, it is perfectly okay to choose one debate style and a couple of speech events. If you have other people joining with you, you may want to go for all of them and just let the students decide. So after we think about logistics, let's take a look at leadership. How will your club or class be governed? Will it be adult-led? Will it be student-led? Now, schools and co-op classes may be led by individual teachers, but a small club may not need any formal governing structure, while a larger club may need to divide leadership into official roles. So again, I would encourage you to look at what you have available to you and the people that are available to join you as you're deciding how you want your club to be led. There are a couple of positions, though, that typically rise to the top. So I would encourage you to think about a club leader. This is the person who is going to take care of all the administrative details, where you're going to meet, any fees that have to be in place, the communication that takes place between the week. You might also have a treasurer. If you are going to be collecting registration fees, you might want someone to manage that money. And then if you have other parents who are joining you, you could have different individuals coach each of the different events that you're going to offer. Now, I will tell you, we started as a small club and we all wore an awful lot of hats, and that's just fine too. The other thing that you might want to consider is involving your students in that process. So students can develop some really good leadership skills by serving in various leadership roles. For example, you could have a club president who presides over the meetings and makes announcements, who assists coaches with instruction and leads the club in prayer. You might also have a club secretary. This is the student who will make copies and keep information current on your communication app or your club website. They might also help with the facility and support other leaders as needed. So there are lots of different roles and ways that you can involve students. So take a look at the students you have and design roles that might be great for them. Next, we want to look at our policies and procedures. And one thing that might be very helpful to you is to look at the NCFCA League Handbook. And you can see the different types of policies that we have in place here. The role of policies and procedures is just to make sure that everyone is on the same playing field and that everyone is clear on what the expectations are going to be for parents and students and coaches. So one policy that you may want to consider is a registration policy. Are you going to collect fees? And so part of that will be what curriculum you're going to offer or use, what facility you're going to be using, and do they have a fee for that? So think about the costs that you might incur and how you can make sure that those get paid for through the fees of the students that are joining you. You might also want to consider membership requirements and attendance. So do you have an age limit for your club? Are you requiring students to have a certain commitment level? In other words, are they going to be required to attend an NCFCA tournament? Will there be specific attendance considerations? So some clubs require their students to be at every club practice or club meeting, or they have to have an excused absence. So think about your attendance policy. Next, we have dress code. Nobody likes to think about it. Everybody needs to. So how can you ensure that dress does not become a distraction in your club? Think about that ahead of time and choose a policy that is common sense. You'll also want to think about code of conduct. So what are you expecting your students to behave like while they're in club? And again, you can look at the NCFCA League Handbook to get some ideas for that. How will you communicate in your league, in your club, excuse me? And are you going to be communicating through email, through phone trees? Will you have a team app? You'll want to make sure to lay out communication so that your members will know how to get the information that they need. You may want to consider a safety policy. Will you require your students to wear name tags or be dropped off at a certain door? And then you'll want to think through the schedule for your club. So again, a big picture, once you decide if you're going to meet every week or every other week, go ahead and just put together a schedule so that everybody can reserve those dates for the club meeting. Will you have any type of social media policy? You can look at the NCFCA social media policy for some ideas on that. But again, we want to teach our students to be respectful in person and online. And then consider your teaching plan. What curriculum or teaching resources will be used in your club? And we're going to talk about some great ideas for that in just a bit. And then what is your plan for the club coaches to teach and lead the students? So in our curriculum, there are lots of great ideas for that. I know there are other plans that are out there as well, but you'll want to spell that out for your folks. And then you'll want to think about tournament policies and procedures. So a lot of clubs put into place some understanding of how they're going to handle evidence brief sharing. And if you don't know what that means, just stay tuned. We'll talk about that at another time. But again, you want your students to all be on the same page with how you're going to go about sharing the information that your club has worked to develop together. After you think about policies and procedures, I just want to encourage you that NCFCA has resources and training that is available to both you and your members in your club. So in order to equip our affiliates for competition, we offer several different training opportunities. This past summer, we hosted our summit, a week-long online training event that brought together thought leaders and mentors who provided great insights on relevant topics to our affiliates. Over 1,200 people registered for that event. So I want you to mark your calendars. We already have the date for next year's summit, and we're super excited to do that again. And we had so much fun at the summit that we decided to continue that experience through our fall webinar series. So this fall, every Thursday night, we're going to be offering different types of webinars to reach as wide of an audience as we can. So on the first week of each month, we'll have Getting Started with NCFCA. That includes both our first steps and our next steps webinar. The second Thursday of each month, we'll have skill building webinars. These are great for people who are getting started and who want to grow in their communication skills. On the third Thursday of each month, we will offer content-specific or teaching topics webinars. These will be conducted by our partners and experts in their fields. Again, these are for students who want to dig a little bit deeper into the topics for this year. And then on the fourth Thursday of the months when we don't have a holiday, we're offering an opportunity for you to connect with our national leaders. So you'll want to note that the fourth Thursday of October, you'll be visited by our Executive Director, Kim Cromer, who will be on hand to answer any questions that you have. So our webinar series is a great way for you to continue your training and to offer that to your students as well. And last but certainly not least, we have the NCFCA curriculum. I will tell you that NCFCA worked really hard to create this curriculum, combining a distinctly biblical worldview with valuable thinking and speaking skills. These comprehensive guides to policy debate and value debate and speech are a fantastic resource that you can use in this new club that you're starting. So in the front of each of those books, there are different types of schedules. So you can decide whether you want to meet once a month or twice a month, and it'll help you to kind of tailor that to your individual students. The other thing that I love about the curriculum is that it is completely filled with activities and games for you to play in your club, so you don't have to come up with that on your own. So why do we at NCFCA love our local clubs? Well, first, together everyone achieves more. So I love working together on a team, and I think you'll find that it helps not only the students, but you as a parent as well. What do our clubs offer? They offer opportunities for collaboration, for cultivation, and for community. And then how can you launch a new club? You want to think through your logistics and leadership, want to think through policies and procedures, and you want to consider what resources and training you're going to offer to your members. So imagine with me for just a moment, what would an ideal club look like to you? And you can type your thoughts there in the chat box. I would love to hear from you what kind of a club you would like to have. Also, if you'll just take a moment to ask questions, you can put those in the ask a question box as well. We took a couple of polls here on this call. Are you involved in a local club? We have 4 folks that have said yes. And are you interested in starting a new club? We have 3 people who have voted yes. So I would love to chat with you after this session. If you would like more ideas on how you can get started, feel free to email me at amyjoytofty@ncfca.org. And I would be glad to share some additional ideas with you as well. So I am ready to answer your questions. If you have any questions, feel free to type them in there. Okay. Well, hopefully we answered all of your questions, but if you would like additional information, again, you are welcome to email me at amyjoytofty@ncfca.org. Let me just give you a sneak preview to our next webinars that will be offered next Thursday night. These will be our skill building webinars, and our first skill building webinar will be called Making Citations Simple. So we're going to spend time together going through different examples of citations and how to do that to line up with our NCFCA script submission rules. Our goal there, of course, is academic integrity. It's giving credit where credit is due. That helps increase your credibility, but it also gives credit to the people whose thoughts you are using. Our second skill building webinar will be the first in a 3-part series on persuasion, and we'll be talking about discovering something worth saying. This is an opportunity to learn some tools of invention. And so if you've never used those tools before, I think you'll really find it helpful as you're writing your speeches this year. Laura Beth asks, I have never attended a meeting, but I am starting a local club this fall. Can you give me an idea of what a typical meeting might look like? Laura, that's a great question. I will tell you that there are no typical meetings and that they all look a little bit different, but I'll share with you what our local club looks like. I attend a club in Central Illinois, and our club meets every other week in person and every other week online. So the way we run is we start with debate, and our debate club lasts from 1 until 2:45. And then we have a time in the middle where everyone comes together for some time in the Word and devotions together. And then our speech club runs from 3 until 4:30. So that's one way to do it. On our off weeks when we're meeting online, we're using that time really as an opportunity to research together. So we do offer two styles of debate. And so our TP students are researching TP together, and our LD students are researching LD. So that's what our club looks like. I know that other clubs do that differently, so I would encourage you to ask as many people as you can get a hold of. And if there is someone near you who would be willing to mentor you, I would be happy to get you connected with that person. Ah, great. Patty says that they're using the tools of invention for the first time this year in their club from the Lost Tools of Learning. Absolutely. Andrew Kern's curriculum is a fantastic resource. There are some other great ones. If you're interested in learning about those, you can send me an email. I'll be glad to share that information with you. But the tools of invention, of course, date all the way back to Aristotle, and they've been used by effective communicators throughout the ages. So we're going to pare it down a little bit to give our students some tools that they can use when writing speeches. And I think they'll find it helpful, not just for that, but also in writing essays and preparing for college. So the tools of invention are very helpful. All right, well, it looks like we are out of time. And so I just want to encourage you again, if you'd like to connect, feel free to send me an email or to call the number on your screen there. And I will look forward to seeing each of you next week, next Thursday evening at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. Have a great night.